Well, hey there. Welcome to the Super Blog Codec with Danny. I'm Danny, and I'm going to be your narrator. This is an audio version of a blog post found over on the SuperPod network. This podcast is fueled by the SuperPod network and way too much coffee. You can find an awesome variety of video game-related podcasts, blogs, and endless quality video game content at superpodnetwork.com. If you like listening to me yap and you've run out of episodes, you can find me on Twitch and on YouTube at DANNI_EL_E. Didn't quite catch that? That's okay. All the links to the blog I'm going to be reading, my SuperPod profile, and my Twitch can all be found in the description. Are you too busy to read? Do you not have time for a full podcast episode? Don't worry, that's what the Superblog Codec is here for. I've gotten permission from the cool human who wrote the original blog post to read their thoughts out loud for you. Today, on the Superblog Codec, I'm going to be reading to you Jacob's blog post titled Glover. Gotta love the glove. This was posted to the SuperPod network on April 1st of 2025. I'm not sure I even wanted a PS1. In fact, I'm confident that I didn't. I wanted an N64 to play through The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time at home on my own, instead of through unsaved spurts at friends' houses. But used N64 consoles and games were beyond my wallet. My parents made a deal with me. They would allow me to own a gaming console if I could buy it. After months of begging neighbors to let me unevenly mow their lawns, I went into the local game store with my dad and threw my cash on the counter. I can't remember how many dollars I was short because, the games cost money on top of the console. But my dad said he would cover a cheap used game to go with the PS1. Thank goodness the controller came with the console, or I would have been out of luck. Against the advice to not judge a book by a cover, I scanned through the used titles and judged Glover by the cover. In retrospect, I don't think there's much that's all that appealing about the cover art. There's a chance that the vapid, white-pupiled eyes hypnotized me and convinced me to buy the game. But the castle on fire in the background was also a draw. Getting home, I went into booting up Glover without any clue what it was. I think that ultimately shaped how I developed a relationship with this nothing short of bonkers 3D platformer. I remember thinking that bouncing the star-spangled rubber ball like a basketball was even cooler than anything I had seen Mario do. Or that upon completing a level, watching the glove's fingers twirl and snap before teleporting out was dripping with steez. I may have been over-exaggerating to compensate for not having an N64 or Mario game, but there I felt genuine enthusiasm to play a game that I owned, on a console that I owned, and that I eventually beat at home, on my own, on a save file that wouldn't get erased. Beating Glover later became a hallmark in my young gaming life and led me to seek out other platformers like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot on the PS1. While Glover doesn't have the same legacy as Spyro and Crash, I still hold it in the same esteem because of what it introduced me to later. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Superblog Codec. If you want to interact with the show and let me know what you think of this podcast, you can find me on the SuperPod website at superpodnetwork.com. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Don't forget to check out the links in the description to find more ways to follow Superpod content. Catch you next time, and make sure you're taking care of yourself, friend. Thanks for listening.